Treaty, education, it's hand in hand. You know, our grandmothers and our grandfathers came and they knew that our way of education was being diminished and it was being looked down upon, and they had to do something, right? So this education that they have, the Western education, is there for us, and that has to be honored, you know, by the governments. We are nations, and nations make treaties, and education is part of that.
How to organize, and we need to know how to organize with power. I really thought about that for the last 2 days, and if Dog Creek First Nation can bring out 80 students, times that by 64 communities, and look how many people we can have here today. And that's just the students at the high school level. If we could have that at the elementary level and really show unification, that's what we need. We need that power to unify and to organize and really fight for this right, because it is a right. It belongs to us. We have the vision. It's not just one person's vision. We need to organize together and have a vision and really pursue it, because it's something that's really serious that they're trying to take away from us, that is owed to us.
I just wanted to, for the people who are holding up these signs, I want to hold them up right now, and I just want to read what the message that they're trying to put across right now. New school for Oxford House, not a band-aid solution. Support the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Fulfill our treaty rights on education. Limited funding equals limited access. First Nations children deserve quality education. Invest in our children. Every First Nation child has a right to quality education. Education equals a better future for all Manitobans. Let's make sure our kids are secure. Say no to racism in schools. Time for action is now. Quit taking our treaty rights away. It's our turn. We want to learn. Honor our treaties. A deal is a deal. Fulfill our treaty right to an education. Education is a key to success. Quality First Nation education is a key. Support action on First Nations education. Time for action is now. Education is a right. Help our children achieve access.
But I'm still appalled at this building behind me that there's no representation, that there's almost 300 civil servants that are acting on our behalf here, getting paid a salary and a pension. But where are they? Where are they? If it wasn't for us here, us people outside here, none of them would have jobs here today. Where are they? They say we have a right to administer our own affairs. Well, how come they're holding us back in education? Come out here, somebody, and speak to us. Address our children, our youth, our future. It's now going on 2 hours. No one's coming out here. It's so shameful.
It started 6 months ago when the federal government refused to fund First Nations University of Canada in Regina. It started 1 year ago when the federal government decided to shift post-secondary education funding out of the hands of First Nations people with the changes to the post-secondary student support program, which they're going to be discussing this year. It started 2 years ago when the federal government again refused to sign the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. It started 10 years ago when the federal government failed to fill the funding that has led to over 10,000 Aboriginal students to be on wait lists for post-secondary education across this country. It started 20 years ago when the federal government imposed a 2% funding cap on the post-secondary student support program, putting a stranglehold on funding for Aboriginal students to be able to attend universities and colleges in this country. It started 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago when young Aboriginal people were forced into residential schools, being stripped of language, culture, and traditional teachings that have no less value than a university degree, a high school diploma, or a college diploma. It started 100 years ago when the federal government signed the treaties with First Nations people that to this very day the federal government continues to directly undermine and insult. It started 300, 400, 500, 600 years ago, when foreign settlers came to this country and stripped the resources out of the first people of this land with the barrel of a gun, the edge of a blade, and to this very day, with the sharp tongues of the politicians in Ottawa and the bureaucrats inside this building.
What we want to say to the federal government and to INAC is to put us on the agenda for our post-secondary education, because we value this. This is something that is not handed out to us. This is something that was promised to us, to our ancestors, in the agreements that we made ages ago. And we're not going to let that go. We can't just let the government do their backdoor policies and changes to legislation and break down our treaties.
So I encourage you to get involved in the student unions, your youth councils. You build your education also through there, not just through our institutions. In our communities, there's education there. But in order to make a living in this economy, this country that we're currently in, we have to be able to educate ourselves, to develop our communities, so that our youth aren't faced with limited opportunities. So I want to thank all those who've I've met over the years, who participated and who continue to work with us at the Student Association level and different organizations. I don't want to say too much more, except that stand up, get involved, and be heard. Education is a right. We will not give up the fight. Jimmy Gwetch.
Now, when I came here and I saw the child that had the sign that said that she wants a school that won't make her sick, I know that there's something wrong with this country. And when I came here and I hear about 10,000 students on waiting lists just to attend post-secondary education, I know that there's something wrong with this country. And when I stand outside this building, and like was previously mentioned by the chief, nobody from this building, no representatives of the federal government, dare come out here. You know why? Because there's something wrong with this country, and they know that they're responsible for this.
The Prime Minister of Canada and his cabinet and his ministers, they really need to man up and woman up, because it's really embarrassing for them not to honor the treaties. We have honored their ways of being, their ways of doing, and their ways of living, and what have they given us? They haven't given us a thing. They really need to honor the treaties, and education is a right, and that's all I have to say.